And we are back with the Jackrabbit Illustrated podcast. Due to some technical difficulties on my end, we did about 5 minutes of a show, and I realized we weren't live. It's like, where's everyone at? Where are our viewers? So I apologize for being late, everyone. This is my fault. This is not Ben's fault. But before we get too far into this here, have to do some quick sponsors. First one, our title sponsor, the Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. Again, a few years ago, I was able to buy a BX 2680. Helps me move my snow, helps me move my yard, helps me take care of the projects my wife asked me to do with landscaping and things like that. If you need something that's going to help you out with your acreage, farm, or lawn, whatever it may be, contact one of the Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. There's likely one near you, and they will get you hooked up with what you need. Our sponsor of our special features episode, our special episodes, is Northwestern Mutual, and Sean Binker's joining us from Northwestern Mutual today. And 3 years ago, for me, 2 years ago, I had a few jobs in my 12 years since I graduated grad school, and my retirement accounts, my 401ks were all over the place, and I needed to figure that out. Someone from Northwestern Mutual contacted me, and I said, okay, I'll talk to you guys. So let's do this. And they helped me with all my silly questions. They helped me find my accounts. They helped me with the paperwork of getting everything transferred over. And now I get to see that money all in one spot, and that snowball starting to build and build and build for my retirement savings. And I love to see that. Also, we took a look at my life insurance policy and my wife's life insurance, which we had purchased before we had kids and when our mortgage was a third less than it is now. And so we definitely needed to do some adjustments on our life insurance. And again, they took into account our budget. They looked at where we were at with our lives and with our kids and crunched the numbers there about what we would need. And man, it was super helpful to someone that's not my forte. And so if you need to any of that with your financial goals, contact someone from Northwestern Mutual, whether it's Sean Binker or someone down in the Sioux Falls office with Chris Schenkel, whatever it may be. Thank you, Northwestern Mutual and Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. So I have three special guests tonight. This is the first soccer podcast we have ever done. Jackrabbit midfielder, Zoe Wittkop. Zoe, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Excellent. Brock Thompson, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us, Matt. Excited to talk to you and your viewers.
Yeah, good. It was a late night last night. You said you rolled back into Brookings when again?
Yeah, about 2 a.m. From our game at Drake in Des Moines, and always an easier bus trip when you're coming back off of a win for sure.
All right. And Sean Binker, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent. Thanks for being here. Thanks for putting up with my technical difficulties. I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but we have 88 people watching this already. So, yeah. So that's pretty exciting. That's fun. All right. So, Brock, tell us about your journey, your time at SDSU. Actually, hold on. I have to tell this story again because this is a good story. So this is our first time doing a soccer podcast here for Jackrabbit Illustrated. And I'm embarrassed by that because I really do enjoy watching soccer. My first exposure to it, I grew up in South Dakota in a small school, graduated the class of 36. So I never got to play, never got to watch it live really. And I did a study abroad over in West Africa and had the chance to go to a game, bought my $2 ticket and went in, and it was awesome. There was music and drums going everywhere. It was fast paced. The players were racing back and forth up the field. I didn't fully understand what I was watching. I didn't know all the rules. I didn't know 100% why we were stopping and having to go back. But it was so much fun. I loved the energy. And I knew that I wanted to learn more about soccer at that point. Luckily, came back to the States, and it was a World Cup year. And I remember also at the lake on certain spots on the trip when we were staying at different hostels over in Africa, it was the Euro Cup that was being played. Yeah. And one of the Italian clubs that had a prominent African soccer player on it won the World Cup that year. So it was pretty cool being in Africa that year when that happened. But anyways, got back in the States and it was World Cup. I believe. I could be wrong on that now. Anyways, they wouldn't have Euro Cup, whatever. But just fell in love with it. Got lots of exposure, all of that. Started going to the soccer games in Brookings, the SDSU soccer games, and absolutely loved it. So Brock, that's my soccer story. What's your soccer story?
Well, how much time do you have, Matt? But I'll give you the quick version. I grew up in Blair, Nebraska, smaller town in Nebraska. Played multiple sports in high school as well, and then went on and played college soccer at the University of Mary in Bismarck, and was trying to figure out, I say this all the time, for the most part, I went to school, to play soccer and tried to figure out what to do along the way, and changed my major a bunch of times, and ultimately made the decision to really teach and coach. That was kind of where I thought my path was going to lead, was to teach high school sciences and coach, and have just been blessed with a number of opportunities to coach at the collegiate level, and have been here at SDSU since 2008, and the head coach here since after the 2016 season.
Okay, awesome. And Zoe, what about you? What's your soccer journey?
I started playing soccer in small town Lamars, Iowa. There wasn't much, just YMCA. So I kind of had to travel for soccer, but it was good. Traveled to South Dakota a lot, and then found SDSU, where it's my new home. And I just enjoy playing soccer, enjoy the teammates, the environment. It's just wonderful here, except the winters. It can get a little cold, but I can deal with that.
Understand that. Okay. And Zoe, I was just trying to do some research on you, like figuring out this interview and stuff, and talking to these guys ahead of time. Last year for the Gold Game, was that your first goal in the Gold Game last year?
Yeah. Okay,
that's really cool. I was trying to pull a picture from it, and it's actually a video, so I couldn't pull the picture from it. But I was trying, because you were celebrating one of your teammates. It was pretty awesome. So
thank you.
Yeah, Zoe, how's the season going so far? You guys are 4-1-3.
It's going really good. I thought it just started off well, and we're continuing to grow, and it was nice to win and drive on the bus home, way better than a tie. But I have just really been enjoying the season and being able to play soccer.
Yeah. Okay. So Brock, you guys, like I said, 4-1-3 on the year. I know those ties, we don't love them, but ties against Missouri and Oregon State. Can you talk a little bit about this season and how it's going?
Yeah, for sure. A couple things. One, our team is a little bit different than it's been in the past. We've got 13 new players. 3 of those came at semester time a year ago, and so they're kind of, I would say, half new, but still new for a fall as it looks. The interesting thing about those ties is ultimately, I think our team would say every single game that we tied that we're disappointed that was the result, because we felt like we played well enough to win. And, our program's had a great, a bunch of success over the years. Over the last 5 years, out of the 350 Division I soccer teams out there, there's 11 of them that have won more games than us at SDSU. And so, it's kind of a point of pride for us, but we'll play anybody in the country in non-conference. And, the teams that you mentioned, we lost to Kansas, who, was a top 15 team, and you lost to them 1-0. They tied the number 1 team in the country, Florida State. So really excited about not just the team and how we're playing and the results that we've had, but also the potential of what we can become over the next couple of months as well.
Okay. That's exciting. And that has been something that, our women's sports, especially, it seems like women's sports across NCAA are much more open to playing top mid-majors like yourself in soccer. We see that in women's basketball. Like some of the top teams especially will come to, First Bank and Trust Arena. Have you brought in some top teams to Brookings in the past too?
Yeah. So, we had Nebraska here in preseason for a scrimmage too. So we've had Nebraska, Oregon State, the reason we played at Kansas this year, they were here a year ago to play at Fishback. Arizona State's played here, Minnesota, Iowa, and our philosophy scheduling is we'll really play anybody as long as they'll come back and play us in Brookings. And that's kind of, it does get a little bit harder, as you alluded to. And sometimes some of the more regionalized, bigger, power conference schools have a harder time agreeing to that.
Sure.
But the truth of it is we're a really good game for them. We're also a really good RPI game for them. There's a lot of incentive for that. The downside is, if and when we win, it helps us a lot on the recruiting front, and it can be, and it can kind of be detrimental for them.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So two things, Zoe, questions for you then. So Brock just mentioned recruiting. What was it about SDSU, the Jackrabbits, Brookings that made you want to come here?
For me, it was the people that made the place the home. I just really enjoyed my visit, and it was close to home. It has everything I need. And then I had a club teammate, Haley Christensen, who I played club with, and I knew she was coming here. And then overall, I've just made some of my best friends here already.
Okay, cool. Brock also mentioned 12 new players, did you say?
I think it's 13. Yeah,
13.
So,
okay,
about half of our roster, which is unique for sure. Eight freshmen, and then some transfers on both sides. Some that came last January, and some that started at preseason.
Okay. Zoe, what's that been like? Having so many new faces, I guess, in the locker room this year.
I think it's really cool. It's also a different environment, getting used to how other people do pre-games, but I honestly love it. I loved meeting all these new people and like just hanging out with them all the time. And I feel like as a team, we especially got close when we got the opportunity to go to Hawaii and travel together, a long plane trip together, got kind of close.
Yeah. And you have teammates, right, from Hawaii? Are there still Hawaiians on the roster? Okay, very cool. Was that fun experiencing home with them?
Yeah, it's super cool seeing how their lives are so much different than my rural Lamar's, Iowa life.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we have the roster this year and everything. Brock, if people are going to the game this Sunday, which we'll get into, who do we want to watch? Who are some players to watch for your team? Keep an eye on.
Yeah, so I think some of our homegrown players are playing really big roles for us. Zoe alluded to Haley Christensen, and Zoe came off of that national championship team out of Dakota Alliance. Taylor Thomas transferred back to South Dakota State. She was at Florida Gulf Coast, where she graduated, and so she's a grad transfer for us. Okay. Kind of neat to see her playing one of her final years in front of her friends and family. And then Taryn Heddick from Aberdeen. She hasn't been healthy enough to play the last couple of games, but she's kind of a glue player that way. To answer the question that's kind of in the chat as far as who's the fastest player on the team, Zoe would be close, but I think Zoe would probably say Bree is probably the fastest player on the team.
I would have to go with Bree.
All right. Awesome. See, that's interesting. You mentioned, a number of local players or players with local ties. Brock, has that been something you've seen grow, I guess, with the strength of the youth program in the area? Like just local players coming up and being Division I soccer players, or has this been something that's been happening a while?
It's a really good question. To be honest with you, the depth of the recruiting base in South Dakota is growing, but it isn't super deep,
Sure.
From that. And what I do think it says is it takes a lot of the difference between, youth soccer in South Dakota and Division I soccer is very different. And it takes a lot of commitment and dedication from those individuals to really be internally driven, like Zoe, to just really pursue that, to continue to grow throughout their high school careers. And so you're starting to see more people chase that. I think as more and more people see some of the Division I players go on and play at high levels, that inspires them, that inspires them to kind of want to do the same. So it's growing and changing. Obviously, we want to invest and we want South Dakota youth soccer, or really the soccer in the upper Midwest, to be as good as it possibly can, because that is only going to help us here at SDSU.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. So Sean, I've peppered them with soccer questions now here. Can you think of any soccer questions that you want answered up till this point in the season?
It's been fun because Brock's got to be a good friend, and we've had a lot of conversations. So just watching them be successful, just in general, has been super fun. But the best story I have is last year when we partnered with the SDSU team for the game. Like we're talking about the gold game, and Zoe was our athlete. We had some stuff that we did with her, and then she goes and scores that game-winning goal. I mean, you couldn't paint a better picture for that event. It was just, it gives me goosebumps still, because I was sitting there watching her and she scored, and it was just really a cool experience. And I've always enjoyed soccer, but getting to know Brock better and becoming a friend, it's become part of what I really enjoy watching soccer, especially South Dakota State soccer, because you get to know the team, and they're all just awesome humans.
Yep, definitely. Very cool. Sean, do you want to talk about Alex's lemonade stand right now?
Yeah, so it's the gold game that we're part of this coming year. This is our second year, and this started with a coffee conversation with Brock. We ran into each other at the coffee shop, and we were sitting just talking shop about different things, and he brought the idea up about Northwestern Mutual being part of something, and Alex's Lemonade Stand is something that's dear to our heart at Northwestern Mutual. A little bit about Alex's Lemonade Stand. It started by Alex Scott. She was a young gal or a young child that got cancer, and she wanted to find a way to raise money to cure cancer. That was her goal, and her goal was to raise $1 million. And during that process, she set up a lemonade stand, started handing out lemonade and selling it. And unfortunately, she passed away before they hit that $1 million mark. And but the cool thing is her mom stepped in and just saw that vision and kept pushing. And so in 2012, Northwestern Mutual became a corporate sponsor for Alex's Lemonade Stand. And with that, we've raised over $65 million towards childhood cancer. And with that equals about 800,000 hours of research. And research is the most important thing for the cancer stuff. Is the only way they're going to find ways to cure it is by doing that research. So we are real proud of Alex's Lemonade Stand and what it stands for. But we're even more excited because the impact it has in the community. I was at Hobo Day a couple of years ago, and we hand out donuts, and we raised money for Alex's Lemonade Stand. And we were able to, a lady came up and spoke with Chris and I about as the band walked by, and she pointed out that her child had cancer, and because of Alex's Lemonade Stand, the research, she was able to get cured, be in the band, walk by us on Hobo Day. Just a really cool experience. So it's all about impact, right? And that's what we're trying to do, is bring awareness to this. We're lucky to have a great platform with Brock and the SDSU soccer team, and we're just excited to be part of this again for year 2, and find a way to we're out to break records, we're out to raise money, and we're out to be to find ways to help cure cancer for children and such.
Hey, that's awesome. That's an awesome story, Sean. Yeah. That's cool. I love that. Okay. So Brock, can you talk about the gold game and maybe the history of it that not everyone knows?
Yeah, for sure. It does have a really cool origin. For a number of years we did a pink game for breast cancer awareness, and it was okay. It kind of dwindled to something where it felt like it was just an excuse to wear pink uniforms, sure. to be candid and upfront. And breast cancer awareness is a noble cause. It's important to me. My sister's, recovered from that, from breast cancer. But we stopped doing it because I didn't think we did it well, and so that's really what our program's about. Is anything that we do, we want to deliver our best doing. And so it was like, if we're going to do a game if we're going to do a cause, like support a cause, we want to do it really, really well. And so we had just kind of stopped, and a year later or so, we had a player, Haley Fisher, who came and said, "Coach, what would you think about doing a gold game?" September's September's Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. The color's gold. I have a cousin. His name's Ian. He's battling cancer. He loves soccer. What would you think about, about us taking that game on? And so that was the start of the gold game, but back in 2019. And it's a really cool thing. It started from a player, that had a very personal reason for it, with Ian, and Ian has since passed away. But it's near and dear to our heart. It's near and dear to Haley's heart. I think at some point you may see gold games at multiple locations across South Dakota, high school, college, and to think that it originated, here with SDSU soccer, just like cookies and cream ice cream did at the Dairy Bar is a cool thing. And so that's how it started. As Sean mentioned, we're kind of in year 2 with Alex's Lemonade Stand being, a really supporting and vital partner, not just from, where the money goes, but how to really promote and give us the vehicle to try to take this game to the next level, both in dollars raised, but excitement for the game, attendance, and all of those things. And, and obviously Zoe's kind of been, really the spokesperson for it the last couple of years, simply because of her personal story and how it's impacted her life and her family's life as well.
Yeah. Zoe, can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. So my sister, she had gotten diagnosed with osteoporosis sarcoma, and that was obviously a very hard moment for our family. But then we kind of sulked about it, but then you kind of have to regather and recuperate. And then we decided that we're going to beat this and we're going to do it with her and stand with her. So she ended up having to have her leg cut off and have a rotational plasty. So it got turned around, so her ankles, her knee, and then she got fitted for a prosthetic. We had to relearn how to really walk and all that. But currently she's doing really good. She's still on a chemo pill, so she kind of has to be aware of how active she can be. But she's been able to golf this past spring, so that was cool for her to get back into sports. She's really going to hope to maybe be able to run, do track or basketball again, but we'll see. You kind of just want to be healthy first thing. But the biggest thing is just promoting awareness, and it's a hard thing for families just to get through it, and you're still living with it every day. But for me, I always just want to play my hardest I can for my sister, and if I ever feel like I just don't really want to practice or something, I just have to really rewire my brain and just say, my sister would die to practice again. She would die to run again. Just do that. You could do it, push through, and do everything 100% as like what she would do if she could do it.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that story. And we have 300 plus people here with us right now. So incredible. Thanks for sharing that, and good luck to your sister as she continues to recover there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we played Northern Colorado on Sunday. What do we need to look out for with Northern Colorado here?
That's a great question. I think you're going to see a team that's really good on the counterattack. We'll get the scout done tomorrow and into Saturday, but I think you're going to, and you're going to see a team that's really good in transition. From that standpoint, I think ultimately it's going to really come down to who's better in those transitional moments. I think you're going to see a team that's pretty physical and it tries to play in a disruptive way to kind of take us out of our flow, just as much as part of it will be part of their game as it is to kind of get into their flow.
Okay. All right. So Chad asked some good questions here. I don't know who wants to handle this, but where is the game? When is it? We already talked about the opponent, Chad, Northern Colorado, and the ticket cost. Let's get into some of those logistic things.
Sure. I can take most of those. So the game is Sunday, 1:00 at Fishback Soccer Park. That's on the south end of Brookings, Madera Avenue, all the way down to 20th, and you're there. It's ticket costs. If you have a football ticket, it's free. That's a promotion. I don't want to speak for Sean and Northwestern Mutual, but I know that last year at the Gold game that they had tickets if people were still needing tickets to get in that way. And, like I said, it's should be an easy way to check out Jackrabbit soccer, and maybe the best game to do so, because you can see a great game and you can support a good cause. And you alluded to earlier in your story, but the drum line will be there from SDSU. So give you a little bit of a flashback to your first soccer game with the drummers and things.
There we go. That's awesome. So good. So folks, you can't get a better deal than that. You get to take in the blackout game for football on Saturday night, which is going to be cool. Those uniforms look really awesome. Take that ticket and you get in to the soccer game, the Gold game. You get to see this team that is doing something really cool. Like, I don't know if I knew the full story about why it's the Gold game. So Brock, thank you for sharing that. And Zoe, thanks for sharing your story too. Yeah. And then Brock, do you want to talk about the match? You're going to do a match?
For sure. Okay. So there's a few ways that you can support the Gold game, whether you're there or not. The easiest way, to be completely transparent, the easiest way is to put your feet in Fishback Soccer Park on Sunday. I've pledged to donate $1 for everybody that shows up. And so if there's 1,000 people there, that's $1,000. It'll go to Alex's Lemonade Stand. Northwestern Mutual's managing partner, Chris Schenkel, has agreed to match that amount. So that's times 2. So you put 2 of your feet in Fishback Soccer Park, then that's $2 to Alex's Lemonade Stand. So that's the easiest way for it to happen. You'll start to see some links of how you can donate online. Okay. To do that, if you can't make the game, obviously that's appreciated. You can swing by the Northwestern Mutual tailgate on Saturday. We'll have a few players there. They'll be giving some donuts away. They'll take some donations at the tailgate on Saturday that way. And then lastly, and you'll see this both at the game, they'll have the lemonade stand set up, but the Lemon Top Challenge is a great way that doesn't cost any money to just use your social media platform, that where Northwestern Mutual then will donate money to Alex's Lemonade Stand on your behalf if you take that challenge.
All right.
If the cool thing about that is, you put a lemon on your head, you take a picture, and if you have Facebook and Instagram, and you send that picture out to both of those, and you tag a couple things in there, it's $10 for every platform Northwestern Mutual will donate. So it's $10 for Facebook one, and so if you could take one picture and make $20 to Alex's Lemonade Stand, and that's what Northwestern Mutual we value this, and we see this as a huge opportunity to raise more awareness, especially during this month. And just to reiterate, tickets, it's no cost to come to the game. We're picking up tickets too.
Hey,
so
wow.
You just show up. That's all we want is people to show up. I mean, seeing Coach Brock go and the Lady Jackrabbits, and Zoe's going to get another game-winning goal probably, right, Zoe?
That's the plan.
All right.
There we go.
Come check it out. It's going to be a blast.
Hey, very cool. And at tailgating on Saturday, Chad will be running around too with his backpack full of pudding shots, which also you can make a donation for that. And that will also go to Alex's Lemonade Stand. So last year, Chad can tell us the amount, but it was over $1,000 that we raised during football season on pudding shots. So pretty goofy on that. But so awesome. Okay. So Zoe, what are the goals that you have for the rest of this season?
I don't really have goals, but more as I just hope that we grow as a team and just accomplish as best as we can do. All
right. There we go. I put you on the spot with that one. Brock, I know we've chatted in the past about this, but what's going on with the on-campus stadium? Can you give an update on that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't. Yes and no, right? Like it's being worked on. About a year and a half ago, it did get Board of Regents approval, which is a really big first step. It's really kind of at the foundation level as far as SDSU Foundation to secure the funding for that to move forward. That's really probably the biggest impact that will have for our program. In really a generation, right?
Yep.
It'll be generationally. It's where it will go, it will transform our program, but it will also transform campus. So when you go to the football game on Saturday or any Saturday, and you see that the cell phone tower that's kind of set up there for to the east of the stadium, that's where the new stadium will be. And to think of what campus will look like, just how much more finished that stretch will look, and it will really create an athletic campus on that kind of that quad of campus is there. So keep people in the foundation it's really important to them. It's important to President Dunn, and certainly it's very important to our program for us to be able to play on campus in front of the students, and to be a part of that campus climate that you see every Saturday, and really for every home event.
Yeah, that will be so cool when that happens, just in that corner of campus. That's just going to complete it with Performing Arts Center there, and First Bank and Trust Arena, and the stadium, and the baseball and softball, and the Jackrabbit indoor athletic complex. Like, that's going to be cool.
Yeah, for sure. And the plans are awesome. And if you ask me when, I would have said it needed to happen 3 or 4 years ago. But sure. I'm also believe it'll happen when it's meant to happen, and so hopefully sooner rather than later.
All right, sounds good. So, folks, just to recap here, there are a ton of ways to support the Gold Game, Alex's Lemonade Stand this weekend and for future weekends. But this is a really cool one. Zoe shared her awesome story here. Brock gave the history of it. Get to the game. The tickets are free. If you were at the football game, you can just show your football ticket, and that'll get you in. So what a cool way to support this team and support this cause. Let's break this attendance record. Let's do this. Let's do it. It's going to be awesome. If the drum line's there, I may throw in some face paint. It could be cool. So, but with that, Sean, Brock, or Zoe, anything else to add?
I just want to say thanks, Matt, for what you do and telling our story, and just having the chance to sit on here with you, but also just telling the story of so many just special Jackrabbit moments and period of time. It's Jackrabbit Nation is what makes, Zoe alluded to the people. It's really what makes the place. And, you're one of those people. So thank you.
Hey, no, thanks. We're going to have to do this again. We'll get you on again, just to kind of talk some soccer. So maybe get someone besides me or someone to join me that actually knows what they're talking about too. So yeah, awesome. And with that, go big, go blue, go
Jacks.
Jacks.